Hey guys, and today I'm showing you guys how to beat the Black Death scenario. Of course, I'm going to play it on the hardest difficulty, and this is a pre-recorded game, but I'm going to explain to you guys what kind of strategy and give you guys some tips on what I did in order to win. And I believe that if you can beat it on DoD difficulty, you can use the same strategy on regular game. Not sure if there is an achievement for playing it on the hardest difficulty, but let's get started. So I am going to show you guys how to do a science victory, and I believe that the same strategy would also work if you're going for the cultural victory. So I am playing as the Holy Roman Empire. I believe that they are the easiest empire to beat the Black Death with, for the fact that they have the Teutonic Knights, which is 0 gold to upkeep, and also is granted a +8 strength when you're fighting in other people's territory. Okay, so the very first thing that I recommend you do as the game starts is to go into your city, as you can see what I did there, and set all of your city to focus on production. The reason being is because you know that a plague is coming and it's going to wipe out your citizen and it's going to render your tiles useless. So you're going to want to be able to build some stuff as soon as you can and make use of the production that you still have left. Okay, so now that we have all of our cities focused on production, what we're going to want to build out of our city, depending on which kind of victory you want, whether that's science victory or a cultural victory, is either construct a campus or a theater square. And then of course some of the cities you're also going to want to construct a commercial hub if they do not have one, because you will need gold in this game, and I'll explain more about that in a second. And then as you can see here, what I did for research wise and civics wise is just that I just set it right to the end, because in the ID difficulty it doesn't really matter what you research. It's not going to make any difference in the game at all. As you can see here, this city does not have a big enough population for me to construct another district. So what I recommend doing is, if you're not playing as the Holy Roman Empire, to construct either a caravel or a knight. If you are playing as the Holy Roman Empire, to construct the Teutonic Knights, because they don't cost any gold for upkeep, so it means that you won't lose them once they're built. For the caravel and the knight, they do take a little bit longer to build, so hopefully by the time that they are built, you will have gold to maintain them, so you won't lose them. So you can see here with this city that I decided to construct a commercial hub instead, just for the fact that the +5 gold was too high for me to pass up, since in this game you won't be building much units. Instead you'll just be buying them, so you will be needing some sort of gold. Now the thing is, in this scenario you can buy units with faith also, but faith is quite an investment. Versus gold, you can use a lot of policy wildcards to in order to boost your gold. So having gold is a lot easier than having faith, unless you truly want to invest in faith, but then you'll lack in your campus and your theater squares. And so the next tip is going to be how to use your builders. And what you're going to want to use your builders for is to try to give your cities more production. And what I would recommend is constructing lumber mills on tiles that has already 2 food and 2 production, so that way you can yield +1 or 2 more production on top of that tile. I would ignore the other regular +2 food and 1 production tiles. And of course construct mines as needed. Now I would like to mention that with the builders you're going to want to keep at least one of them alive, and what I like to do is to use 2 of his 3 charges, so that he would remain alive, and move him about with my troops, and I'll explain about that in a minute. And with the military unit that has been given to you, I recommend moving them out to sea, as out at sea they can get hit by the plague, and if they are on land in a plague tile they will lose 20 health per turn until they die. So it is in your best interest to move them out to sea on a tile that is not being worked. Alright, so the first mission that you're going to want to do with your military unit is going to be attacking isolated cities. What I mean by isolated city is, as you can see here with Copenhagen, that it's on an island on its own. Or as you can see here with Aalborg, that it's on a peninsula. And the reason being is because when you're in the territory of a free city, they're going to attack you from all sides, and you want to be able to limit that to the minimum possible so that your units will survive. Now of course what you're going to want to do is also take over a city that is not on your main land, as once the plague starts in your land it's going to spread to that city, and it's going to make it harder for your units to escape if you're inland. And also it's gonna really messed up you trying to take over that city. Now the reason why you want to take over a city is because of a wildcard policy that will give you gold per city that you owned. So you're gonna want to try to take over as many cities as you can in the process, So talking about gold, you're going to want to construct commercial hubs after you've completed your campus or your theater square, so that you can start trying to stockpile on some gold. Okay, so as you see here, the play has started. And what I would do is I'll recommend finishing up whatever you're building, either a commercial hub, library, or a campus, and then construct a knight. And when you're constructing a knight, what you're going to want to do, and the reason why you want to build a knight now is because the plague is going to come in 2 waves, and after the second wave, your city is going to rebel. So what you're going to want to do with your knight is you're not going to finish constructing them. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to leave them at 1 turn to completion. And then 4 turns before your city rebel, which is once that happens, the plague is gonna die out enough to the point where you can spawn your knight and it won't die in the plague. And then you're gonna use that knight to plunder your library once your city turns into a free state, or your theater square, and that's gonna give you the extra science or extra culture that you're gonna need in order to beat the game. Okay, so I slowed that down for you guys right there just to show you guys the first policy cards that you get, which is kind of useless in my opinion, so you can do whatever you want. But the second policy card here, as you can see, are the good ones. As you can see here, we've got Program, which gives you +4 gold in all cities. And so that's one of the policy cards that you're going to want to maximize on. And then the other policy, you can use whatever you want until you get the one that gives you +2 gold, such as Urban Underclass. And so as the game goes on, you're going to end up having to choose between 2 paths on which one you want to take. And you just got to pick the one that is best for you, whether you're pursuing a science victory or a cultural victory. And of course, you're going to just want to focus on anything that also gives you gold too. So depending on which pass you chose earlier, on either Treat the Sick or Shame the Sinner, you will get a specialty unit. I would not recommend building those. Instead, I recommend purchasing them, because building them is just going to take too long. And they have 2 charges on which they will either give you science or culture, depending on whichever unit that you have. And what I would recommend doing is using them on a city where the plague is about to pass by. Otherwise, they may end up dying in the plague, and then you end up wasting one of the charges because the unit died too early. Keep in mind that the specialty units can only use their ability once per city, so you're gonna have to move them around. Okay, so it's been some turn past now, and I just wanted to jump right to where I ended the game. It's gonna be a little bit on a faster speed, but you can see as how I've constructed my knights or bought them, and then now they're just going to pillage the campuses that I once built, and then we're gonna win the game. Alright guys, and I hope that this walkthrough helped you guys beat this Black Death scenario. If you guys found it useful, make sure to hit that like button and leave a comment. And we'll see you guys next time.